Wow, we've had a really great week this week. I'll get into the news a little bit later because I think we'll find a few more people coming in. Did you want to just run through some housekeeping with everyone, Penny, and just let them know, how we run the meeting, if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, sure. So we're just going to start everyone on mute, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. And in the last hour, we'll go through those questions. Graham's going to present some new things that are coming up, and I think Tim Dwyer will join us shortly also. So yeah, if you have any questions, just like I said, just put them in the chat or go to reactions and put your hand up, and then we'll get to you for sure sometime during the meeting. So
yeah, Tim's on his way back from the country. He's running a little bit behind schedule at the moment.
Okay.
But he will be in the meeting soon. And we've got a couple of other people dropping in, I believe, as well. So we'll introduce them when they come in a bit later on.
Nice.
Coming on screen now. So, hi. Okay. Thanks, Penny. So first of all, I'm just going to mention Penny's been fantastic. She's done a lot of work with me. I see Michelle and Ross, and g'day Chad, you're there too. Hi Ursula and Kelly, and I'm not sure who Luke is. Hi Luke and Kewin, and hi everyone. I wonder if that's your friend Joe coming in, Penny. So it's been a very interesting week. This week we received a call from the tribal people. They call him the executive secretary of, sorry, not secretary. What was do you remember the term I used? Sorry, I've just come back from the country too, so had to go today and check out an off-grid living place that they've asked me to help set up the infrastructure on. So that was quite an interesting day. Yeah, so basically it's the highest ranking elder within the Indigenous community. We've been granted through the Indigenous community full jurisdiction to operate the QMS as the first lawful system of government, of governance in Australia, which, wow, this is a big moment for us. We just made history with what we're doing. So yeah, really blown away. So yeah, that's come through this week. We can now offer people sovereignty under the QMS, and everybody who is a member automatically gets that sovereignty. You now have the protection of the tribal people of Australia, or the tribal nations of Australia. We can organise certificates for people. We'll be doing something on that this week and getting that running. And there will be a cost involved to that, obviously, because there's a cost to us to produce it. But we'll work all of that out when we get a chance to sort of catch our breath and catch up with everything, because it has been a really, really full-on week for all of us. We've also been talking to politicians. Michael O'Neill from IMOP, Rod Cullerton, Rick Bosey, just to drop a few names in there. Great guys, all heart-based guys that are trying to do the right thing by the country. However, we don't think they're going to have any success within a corrupt political system. Yeah, it's sort of like bashing your head against a brick wall, unfortunately, with that sort of thing. We're basically saying to them, if they can come in and help us with the QMS, because of course they've got resources and skills that would help with what we're developing at the moment, that would make a huge difference in what we're trying to achieve. So we will have the sovereignty certificates up, and we're also going to do essentially like a license type thing, a personal identification that we'll be able to send out to people as well, whereby you'll be able to show that if you're pulled over, and that will identify you as coming under the Tribal Nations Authority, which means you're stepping into the new law system. So it's a really big thing for us. We've also had Mike Holt, who many of you will know is a common law expert, come on board with us as well. So yeah, the steering team is growing and expanding as we go, which is good. That's what we need. We need a lot of diversity, different types of skills, people involved in it in order to make the system run as best it can. Now, very shortly, now I've been saying tonight at midnight that we would go live with the QMS. We have the app ready for download on there. All I have to do is click a button and basically the QMS will be in full operation. So you will be able to raise a poll in the QMS for people, or a change or a suggestion to a new policy, if that's what you like. What I'll do is I'll bring up the page that we've got on there now where it shows the operation of the QMS. One sec, just bring that up. Where is it? That's in. So we have how the QMS works. It's also over here under using the QMS, so you can get it from either place. So if you click on how the QMS works now, that will simply explain the process that the QMS uses in order to bring a policy that you may propose all the way through to being implemented. So stage one is that you enter your suggestion in the people's voice, which I'm sure many of you have checked out now. You can access that through the menu or through this button here. Now, people can then add weight to that policy. So when we get 1,000 people, it will shift into the news feed. Once it goes into the news feed, it needs to get 10,000 people liking it or wanting that policy, which is done by liking it at this stage, where we've got to do a little bit more adjustment on the website. It's not as flexible as I would have liked. And we want to try to make the policy process a little bit cleaner too, because at the moment, I think it's still a little bit clunky, but we are limited with the website builder that I'm using. However, it is possible to do. So you can select a group category for the policy to reside in, which means it'll group it in with other policies that may be coming up then around that particular topic. And that allows people to view different ideas and opinions and choose which one they like the best. You can propose it at a national, state, or local shire, or even a tribal level. We haven't put that bit in yet, but it will be in shortly. Just depends on what it applies to. Now, the new policy, once it gets the 1,000, as I said, it goes into the news feed, which will come up on the front, and everyone will get an email letting them know that the policy's reached 1,000 and that it's there to be looked at. When it hits 10,000, now we're working out percentages at the moment. The percentages are based on, in some cases, you may have a small community in a council area, and some states are bigger than others. So we've worked it on percentages in that particular case now. That way that you don't have to wait for 10,000 people, of which there may not be in a local council area. So as it hits that percentage or the 10,000, then a board will be assembled from people who've volunteered their time to become an expert within the field of that policy. Once they have reviewed it and tested and measured it, everything will be fed up to the news feed. They will then also set a time frame that they expect that to take, and they will also, once it's fed into, all their information will go into the news feed. So everything they find, everything they do, their meetings, the testing of it, will all be in the news feed. You'll see it all, makes complete transparency around what happens with that policy, how it's developed, and why it's been brought forth, the whole lot, how it affects other changes and other policies as well. And obviously it's got to be constitutional to even get up in the first place. Now, the Constitution, Wayne Glue is writing a constitution based on the QMS. We're hoping to have that very soon, and we'll review it as soon as we receive it. We did hope to have it for this meeting, but it's not the be all and end all at the moment, because even though we are the only lawful recognised system of governance in Australia, the Constitution will need to be voted on by the people. So it's got to go to referendum before it can be put into place anyway. And people may have changes they wish for it. After the set time frame that the experts have allowed for, and assuming that no further testing, changes or revising are required, because if somebody sees something that needs to be changed or a flaw in the process that the policy is being developed under, they'll be able to raise that and bring attention to it, obviously. Votes will then be placed into our blockchain app, which is this button here, which isn't live yet, but if you bear with me 1 minute, I'm going to do it right now. We'll do it a little bit early. So I will just get that up on screen. So you can all see me do it. Okay. So, and yes, it is a Wix site at the moment, but that will change very, very soon, I've no doubt. So we'll do using the QMS first. And guys, you are about to witness this going live, fully live.
Yay, we're launching.
So this is huge. All right, so download the QMS Democracy app. It is called the Democracy app. We've got some more coming in, Pen. I'll just put the link in now. Just got to find it. Done. And publish. Okay, QMS is live. You can now download the Democracy app, which is the final stage of the QMS. On the using the QMS page, I've just got to go and do the other one as well, how the QMS works. They are slightly different. I've been making some changes overnight, so I've got to do a few more adjustments to it. But there's the system now should be working. Now, when you go in, you will get an email back. You'll have to set yourself up on the Democracy app. When you do, you'll get an email back confirming you. And then once you've confirmed, you'll be able to log in and use it. You can download the Democracy app to your phone. There currently isn't a web-based Democracy app. That's something we're talking to the developers about. But will come in time. But the first 3 stages of the process will be done on the website, with the final voting stage done in the Democracy app, because that's the most important stage where we can ensure that it's kept in the blockchain and it can't be changed. And obviously for security reasons, it's got to be done this way too. So there you go. Done. And one last change is to make the downloads page findable on the menu. Just got to remember where I put it. There it is. And show. Okay. The QMS is now active and live. So guys, we've done it. We're there. And that's done. So I'll just go back to the other back to the other screen. We'll do a refresh on that. When it finally finishes loading on Australia's super fast internet.
So anyone can go in there, Graham, and just have a play with it. And
yeah, we've got a couple of policies in there already that you can try out. Oh, yeah, the downloads is there. Okay. So now that final button should work, and go to the downloads page. QMS app. There you go. So you can now download the Blockchain Democracy app. The links are in there. It's there for both Google Play and for Apple. And if you want to check out the developers page, you can click the link at the bottom of the page, and that'll take you through and show you how what the app is and how it works. We do have full rights to this app for Australia and New Zealand. So all the pieces are there. All right, so I'll hand back to Penny and let her, but you just actually witnessed a moment in history, guys. We just actually turned on the first lawful system of governance in the country. So
Nice. Very
thank you
exciting.
everyone who's been working with me. It's been a really exciting week and an amazing time, and you guys are brilliant. I love you all. Thank you. I'll let Penny go now.
So can you explain exactly how this works and how this will help us self-govern?
Sure. So now anybody in the country can raise a policy within the QMS as a potential change or a new policy. As that policy gains 1,000 people's support, it will go into the news feed. So that will obviously get it more people seeing it. And obviously other people might go, oh, I've got a better idea or whatever. So they would then go in and propose their own version of it. And again, once that gets 1,000, that too would go to the news feed. So when one hits 10,000, it will, so 10,000 people want it. It will be put to the experts. The experts will put everything into the news feed that they find. And then they will write the policy in common language. So not legalese, just standard English. It will be placed back into the news feed for review. And then they will set the voting date and time. So the vote will commence on maybe the 20th of October and run until the 30th of October, whatever they determine is that period of time. And everybody goes into the blockchain app and decides on the blockchain app, the democracy app, whether or not they want that policy or not. Once you've made the vote, you can't change the vote in the blockchain app. So it's there. You can only vote once on it. And very soon the blockchain app will have biometrics attached to it too. So it'll be an iPrint reader and a thumb scan just to confirm your identity, to make sure that people aren't double voting and things like that in there as well. Once that it hits 51%, it passes. And at 51%, it will go to the necessary department that would normally look after it. So that would be currently known as public service departments. I think you're going to find things are going to reshuffle and languages might change very, very soon as to how this all works. But yeah, it's there. We're working and we can use it. And we have, well, we've been given jurisdiction and as I say, we've been given the protection of Tribal Australia, so the Tribal Nations of Australia. So we're very lucky and we can free ourselves with this. We no longer have, we are all sovereign, you're born sovereign. But when you come in under the QMS now as a member, you now operate in this country under the protection of the QMS and the Tribal Nations of Australia. So as I say, they're the only true lawful system in this country. And I won't go right into that at this stage because a lot of people would disagree on that, but we're there. And that's where we've gotten to. So the next stage will be obviously to get to the people's initiated referendum. And for that, we will do some fundraising shortly. That's part of why we are going to promote the sovereignty aspect of what we're doing. We won't charge for sovereignty. There's no cost to being a sovereign. You're born sovereign. The Creator grants you that when you're born. But we will provide you with a certificate and basically an identifying card similar to a driver's license that have your photo on it and whatever information. We've still yet to sort of talk about how what that's going to look like. And there will be paperwork that you can send off to the relevant authorities to free yourself from the system. So all of that will be in the package. The paperwork will be there for you to use anyway on the website. We will make that available to anyone and everyone who wants to free themselves when they become a member. We're just, again, there's a lot of background work happening at the moment and there's still things to do, but the system's operational. So please get in, raise some policies, engage, test it. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if we can make it fall over or cause any problems you can with it, because we need to iron those out along the way. And we need to go through this testing process while we build the funds up to get to the people's initiated referendum. Now, the people's initiated referendum will never be allowed by, they call it a CIR or citizens initiated referendum, but we're not on their ship. So we will have a people's initiated referendum very soon as we hit a certain amount of money where we can afford to pay for the costs involved to doing it. And that's what all the fundraising will go to. Nobody on the steering team, nobody in the QMS, I don't make a cent. None of us are here for the money. We're here because we want to be free. We want our children to be free and we want our country to be free. There's been a lot going on over the past couple of years, as you're all aware. This is our way out once and for all. And as I say, we've just got to use it. We've just got to bring people in. Now it's promote it to all your friends, show them, try it out. We will try and improve it as we go with the site so that you guys can make it more user-friendly and make it easy to use. For that, we're going to have to bring in some web developers to help us with it. It's been a pretty big job to get it to the stage it's at. And it's taken me, about 3 months or something, isn't it, Pen? It's been quite a while, but I'm happy with the way it is at the moment, but I do recognise it's a little bit clunky and it's not as user-friendly as we'd like yet. So it will improve in time. And as we get the resources available to do that, we will work on it. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. As I mentioned before, we've got politicians talking to us as well as the original people. We've got all sorts of influencers out there talking to us as well now. And we're getting invited to do a lot of media things, mainly within our movement at the moment. But I think we're going to find in the next couple of weeks that could change. You'll probably hear all sorts of things about it on the media. They'll probably try and ridicule it and all that as well. And some people will want leaders. We're not doing away with leaders, just politicians. There'll still be leaders in proposing policy. There'll still be leaders in business. There'll be leaders in change, and there will always be leaders around. But now you can choose your leaders. Now you can follow the people that are doing the right thing by you, by the country, by your children, rather than we're not leaders. We're not leaders in that we're not going to be running this country. We've got no interest in doing that. We want the people to run the country. And at the end of the day, it's the public service that actually does all of the heavy lifting as far as any policy that's implemented. A politician's like a beautician. A beautician sells beauty, creates and sells beauty. A politician creates and sells politics or policy. And we don't need it. We, the people, can do it now. So we've got it. So yeah, I'll jump back to you, Penny, just to sort of give me a bit of a break from talking and let you. And yeah,
I was going to ask you a few questions that a lot of other people have been asking me.
Sure.
So you're going to have to talk a little bit longer.
Okay.
You're the man with all the answers of, you understand how all this works. You're the author. So with a local council in each town, would that remain, and then they'd have their own version of this system within that council?
Again, yes. So not necessarily in the same format they are now. Councils will need to go on a major overhaul as far as I'm concerned. In fact, every part of the public service needs to. So what we need now is people to start thinking about what changes would they like to see happen, and how do we go about that, and to propose it within the system. We've all got ideas. And at the moment, we've been listening to about 0.05% of the people in this country's ideas, and we're going with those. And when politicians are out there, they form a political party, they'll put out maybe 10 different policies or 20 different policies they're going to change. You might be aligned with 3 of them. There might be several that you really don't want. You don't really get much choice. In this, you will. We have 27 million in the country, currently 18 million of voting age. Those 18 million of voting age, that means there's 18 million ideas that can be raised within the country, 18 million different ideas. Now, a lot of people will see it the same way, and will add support to the things they see the same way. And better ideas may come up. And that's something, we can't be precious about our ideas. If a better idea comes up and other people choose it, that's just the way it goes. I was always prepared that could happen with what we're building here. There was a situation recently where somebody has tried to build a similar system to it, but unfortunately the way they went about it wasn't the right way, and it's created a lot of problems. So more so for them, I think, than us. It's actually freed us of, put it this way, we were held back for a while and now we're not anymore. So the system's really leaped ahead very, very quickly. Yeah, look, the more people that know about this too, I just saw the question come up. I hope you have some bodyguards lined up laughing. Look, we're getting to a position, you're right, I'm ready to bunk if I need to. The more people we get on board, the safer we are. And the fact that we've done this in the public guarantees us a level of safety, because I mean, if it came out on the news that I'd committed suicide tomorrow, I'm pretty sure you guys would all be pretty suspect as to why that was. And I'm pretty sure that somebody would look deeper into it. And I'm not going to commit suicide. So that would be a ridiculous thing to do. And if I was murdered or had a car accident or anything, I think, you'd start checking brake lines and all that sort of thing. So, but look, the more people that come on board, the safer we are. So bring everybody in, try and get your friends, go and speak to 5 people tomorrow, tell them what we've built, show them, have a use of it yourself so you get used to it, so you can actually demonstrate how it works to them. And once they see what we're doing, because most people do want to say in their countries, they do want to say in how things operate. And that's what we've got. I mean, it doesn't mean, just because you have a say doesn't necessarily mean that'll be the way it turns out, because as I say, it'll come down to the final vote. And voting can be, it can be a local area thing, it can be statewide, it can be national, it can even come down to a tribe. It's really, really quite a flexible system in those regards. And as I say, it'll undergo more development, it'll undergo more user-friendly type development as we go ahead, as long as the structure is retained and the concept of keeping the transparency there and making sure that everybody knows what's going on. Because the only people we'll have to hold accountable from now on will be from when we do the referendum, will be ourselves and our public service, and we ourselves will hold them directly accountable through the system. So if somebody's not doing their job in there, it'll go into the system and away it goes. And of course, systems and processes will get developed further along the way, which will make it easier for the system to be used and for you to have your say and to make it all work. So
within the school system, Graham, so with the sovereignty, or the teachers at the moment and nurses and police, even, most of the services right now, they're worried about this vaccine. So I don't want to really want to call it vaccine, I want to call it poison. With this mandating situation, and a lot of them are leaving their jobs, is it possible within the sovereign society that we can form with this certificate of protection, can we form like schools within that system?
Yes, we can. We've got.
How protected are we from the corporate police that are currently in place?
Look, that for the time being, until the system goes into full, the referendum's held, there's always going to be a little bit of argy-bargy around that. And I wouldn't step outside the law myself in the current system. Like, as much as I want to dissent, you can dissent. If you don't pay your taxes, what are they going to do? If you don't pay your fines, what are they going to do? That's up to you. I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm just saying, what are they going to do? Having been through that process myself, I tell you, they pull you into a courtroom and tell you you're very naughty, and you tell them you don't have any money and you leave. That's pretty much it. If it's a lot, then yeah, it might be a different story. If it's hundreds of thousands of dollars or tens of thousands of dollars, that could make a difference to your situation, and depends on how you treat the situation as well. More paperwork will become available as we go, and we'll nut more out. Mike Holt's come onto the team, as I mentioned before, as well, and he's going to help us with a lot of the documentation. And most of you probably heard of Mike through the common law side of things. Common law doesn't. I think it's a great type of law system, but the tribal system, that was there first and that was here first. So we now get to design the country in the way that it should be. And that's where we start, is we've basically got to start putting the policies forward and trying to develop them within our system now. And that's part of the testing process too. So that'll actually show what we're hoping to achieve, and it'll get more people to come in because if they see policies that we're offering that are better than what are currently there, people will want to join with us and they'll want to be part of it. So it's really about coming from the best version of yourself, staying in a heart space and just doing what you believe you're here to do. It doesn't have to align with other people. It doesn't have to be right as far as they're concerned, as long as it's right as far as you're concerned. That doesn't mean that you can be a narcissistic mongrel or anything like that. It's about coming from the heart space, and it's about trying to do things that are advantageous to yourself and other people, but not just, if anybody was, for instance, caught in, say, the expert area misusing the system for their own personal benefit, that's treason. So, you know, we will be vetting the people that come in and there will be processes set up around that. I'm looking at a few different systems that we could use around that at the moment too. But I'll probably put it to the people to decide on what type of vetting system they have at that stage, because I'm not the be all and end. I don't know everything. I know what I know, and there's plenty that I don't know. And so I'm trying to sort of build what I believe is the best system of governance for us within it's way better than the structure we've had. I mean, it can't be corrupted like what they've done. But that's part of also when we set up the public service that administers the QMS, those people will have to be sworn under whatever oath we decide to create for Australia. And they will have to stick to that, because if they stick outside of it, they would be considered acting treasonously as well. So we've got that protection over it too. And as I say, under tribal law, yeah, you wouldn't want to commit treason. So it would be a pretty bad thing to do.
So within the school system, like, and Joe's asked this question because I've talked to her about it. I've also spoken to you about it, Graham, as far as us developing a group of teachers that we could do online learning with. But then what sort of curriculum and schooling are we following? What, you know, are we developing a whole new system at that point? Or right now, because so many children parents don't really trust their children to go to school with all these vaccination threats hanging over them, with the 12 and up being able, apparently without consent of the parent, to have the vaccine or to make that choice. A lot of the vaccine hubs are being set up at the schools, or they're about to in New South Wales, depending on how much money they're offered. I think that's the case. Where would we stand as far as setting up an online schooling system now under their sovereignty?
Look, I'm really happy if you want to set up online schools through the QMS. I'm happy to get that going and to be part of that, and to you know, basically provide whatever resources we can provide to do that. Keeping in mind, I myself am a tradesman and I haven't had a lot of work in the last couple of years, so there's not a lot of money behind me to do that. But I've built this without a lot of money. Really, if we want it bad enough, we can make anything happen. And that goes for every one of you, not just me. Every one of you can create whatever you need to create now. This is our time. This is the time to get creative, to start to bring forth those ideas and to start to work out how they're going to operate and what sort of curriculum in the education system that you would want for your children and things like that. So now's the time to sort of get in there and start proposing. And we've got education groups in there. We've got all sorts of groups within the QMS that you can start the discussion going. So we're asking people, anybody that feels they'd like to step up and run a group within those groups on the website, please let Penny or myself or Michelle know about it, or Ross, or anyone from the steering team. You can email us at info@theqms.org. And we'll get your email, and when we get through them all, because we've got hundreds coming in and we're running way behind and trying to get everybody organised and that sort of thing. Organising people's not my best thing. That's what I'm leaving to Penny and Michelle to try and do at the moment. So once we get a few more things organised and sorted out, those things will get easier. So we'll get the groups going on the website. We just need people to step up and say, I'm happy to deal with education and get a group meeting. It doesn't mean that person will always run the group. It may be different people over time. There are processes that we've created, and there are documents in there that I'm in the process of adapting at the moment. So basically, they show you how to structure the meetings, how to set them up, all that sort of thing as well. So you can do the economy, there's health, there's aged care. I can't remember all of them offhand, but there's quite a lot of groups in there, and we've tried to cover as many different areas as we possibly can. So yeah, I'm really overwhelmed at the moment, both and humbled, because this has been a very, very exciting. The last couple of months has been quite up and down for me. 1 minute it's fantastic, next minute I'm broken, the next minute it's fantastic. And I tell you what, with people like Penny and Tim around me and Michelle holding me up, and those guys really have, they've been absolute gems as far as keeping this moving. Even when I've been sitting there thinking, oh, what's the next step? How do I move forward from here? The positivity those guys have injected into me has been absolutely, absolutely beautiful, and they've really kept this moving forward. Penny is an absolute master networker. The people she's brought, including Ross, has been amazing. A lot of people don't know, but Ross was the one who helped us source the app and bring the democracy app forward. So did you want to say anything on that, Ross, while I'm mentioning you there? You'll have to unmute, mate.
Hello, everybody. So with the democracy app, the founder in America and USA, I've known him for about 5 years, and I've been not so much working with him on the democracy app, but I've been working with him in other sections of his business. And I've known about the democracy app for probably about 2 years, and he actually asked me about a year ago to be the political person here in Australia. Now I'm not a political person, and it all sort of not fell by the wayside, but I mean there was obviously a lot of changes happening, and then we come down with the pandemic and all the rest of it, so things started changing. So, but it's only the last probably month that I've been talking to him again. Penny, Graham, and Tim, myself, we had a meeting with the guy in America, and we finally brought it all together. So now he's actually used this democracy app in 2 European elections over the last couple of years. Worked very successful for the politicians that did use it. But yeah, I mean, we've actually already trialed it, and it is very user friendly. It's live. Literally, your updates are all live right in front of your face, and it's really easy to use. Graham's got his head around it completely, and yeah, so it's exciting times that this is actually launched now, and so like Graham said, we've got the full rights for it in Australia and New Zealand. And basically, I think we're going to be the pilot countries for the rest of the world. So if this takes off in Australia and we all get behind it, well, this is what the founder in America was, hoping to do. This was his whole vision that he had, to take this worldwide with politicians. But obviously, as you know, politicians won't exist a lot of the places around the world very soon. So, I'm excited to finally see it happen, because I have seen this in the works for at least 5 years with the other part of the company that I sort of work in and I'm involved in. So, it's really exciting for me to see this launch. It really is. So, and I'll talk to the founder tomorrow. So I'm sure he will be absolutely ecstatic, because I mean, if Australia and New Zealand become the launch pad for this, wow, sky's the limit. So thank you, everybody.
Cheers, Ross. Appreciate it, mate. And look, we are in talks with people in New Zealand who are going to bring this out over there as well. They may actually get the referendum going before we do, because they've got a smaller demographic, smaller population. But that's okay. It doesn't matter who gets there first now. We're there. If the Maori people of New Zealand, and I believe they hold the legal status over there, if they determine this is a system that they want as well, and they throw in behind it as well, it will give it jurisdiction there as well. And once it's got jurisdiction there, they'll be able to promote it to their people in the way that we're now starting to do too. So this is something we wanted for all of Australia and for all Australians first, and we got it. So it may not be, we may not have had the referendum yet. That'll come down to how quickly we can raise the funds. And as I say, by the end of next week, we'll have the fundraising parts of the website up and going, and we'll have the other bits and pieces associated with the documents I mentioned earlier ready to roll as well. So, or at least I hope so. And hopefully we'll have our referendum, not our constitution, that we can start to put out and let people know about as well. So very, very close to the finish line now, but we're up, we're working. They can't really stop us now. It's out there. They can take me out now. You guys know about it. It works, and other people will step in and develop it even if they did. So I certainly hope they don't, because I want to see the country changed. But I'm human like the rest of us, and I'm a soul, and you know, at the end of the day, I'm wearing a meat suit. So that's what happens. That's what happens. But yeah, hey, look, I just saw Mike come in. G'day, mate. How are you? So yeah, I'll hand back to Penny, but we might get Mike Holt in a minute. He's missed a little of what I said, so I might have to run over a couple of things with him, but that's okay. I've given him the basics.
Welcome, Mike. We were just talking about what it means to have sovereignty and what sort of, how that helps us if, you know, within a new system like this. How does it work? What difference does it make? How does it help us stop being, for example, pulled over by the police and, you know, smashed into the ground? And but what we've seen happening, how does common law and sovereignty make a difference to that?
Well, hello, everybody.
Hello, mate. Throw you in the deep end.
Get straight into the hard questions.
Yeah. Look, you can't expect, because what we all need to understand is that there are two law systems in this country now. There's their laws, which is Admiralty law, and there's common law. And the two don't mix. They're completely different systems. So if you're thinking that you can use common law to fight their unlawful edicts and mandates and all the rest of it, and their thuggery, don't expect that. But what common law does is it empowers you to stand up for your own rights. Every one of us is born with certain inalienable rights, I should say, which means you cannot put a lien on our rights. You're born with those rights. You can't take them away. However, they can trick you into giving them away. But what you have to do is stand up for them. Now, I was just on another Zoom call, and people there were telling me that they are starting to stand up. You know, they're going in New South Wales, they're going to these shops where they're saying, oh, you've got to wear a mask and you've got to have a passport and all the rest of it. And they're saying, no, I don't, and I'm going shopping. And if you don't like it, tough. And so this is how you do it. You stand up for your rights. I know that's a bit of a scary thing when when you start doing it. But the first time I did it, I had two cops come to my door a few years ago, and they said, oh, we're here to talk to you about something you posted on Facebook. And I just said, I don't care what you're here for. I have an absolute right to freedom of speech. You can bugger off. And I actually made a video about it. And they said, oh, okay, bye. And off they went. That's what you've got to do. Stand up for your rights and say, no, not conforming, not complying.
Standing your truth, yeah. And your truth is your rights. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're standing your truth and you're honest and not doing anything wrong, if you're not causing any harm, you're not damaging anything, and if you're not taking anything from anyone, then what are you really doing wrong? And that's how I feel too. So I was telling them before, we haven't had, I did mention to you, Mike, that we got the endorsed by the Tribal Nations of Australia. So we've now been given jurisdiction under them as well. So it's quite a big thing. Realistically, we all know that the system we have has never really been truly lawful. This gives us a jurisdiction within the country, and it does make us the first, and I believe the first lawful system of governance within the country under their approval. So I think we're sort of in a bit of a unique position now. It's to be able to move forward, and we've just made history. So we're pretty excited by that. And I think now we've just got to bring the people, and we've built it. Now they'll come, to coin a phrase from an old movie.
True, true.
Mike, can you just tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
Okay, I'll start right at the beginning. I remember being in my mother's womb and hearing violins and music. Okay. No, I was born in England, came over here when I was 5 years old. And that's back in the 50s. So I grew up in an Australia that actually adhered more or less to common law and our constitution. I joined the Air Force in '65. I took the oath of allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth, the real one. So I am actually a sworn Commonwealth public official. And after I got out of the Air Force, I did a lot of traveling, and I ended up living in Thailand for 30 years, where I lived through 5 coups. And then in 2009, I came back here with my Thai family, settled down, and a couple of years later, I saw Gillard stab Rudd in the back, and I thought, hang on, that's a coup. That doesn't happen in Australia, and unfortunately it does now. So we've gone back to being a third world country. And that's because none of us really understood what Whitlam and all of his henchmen since then have been doing, but they've been taking little bites out of our rights and freedoms all the way down the line. Until now, we virtually have no rights and freedoms. So when I saw that coup, I started doing some investigation, and I teamed up with a guy called Lieutenant Colonel Charles Mollison, who had been part of a team in 1999 to write a draft constitution. And I read his draft, and I thought, that's pretty good. And while I was working with him, I kept on saying to him, well, how are you going to implement this? He never had an answer. So after a couple of years, we parted ways, because I wanted to work with people who actually had solutions rather than just an idea. And so there was nobody doing it. And so eventually I teamed up with these guys on a Zoom call in Melbourne, started in Melbourne 2 years ago, just before the COVID started. And we were talking about common law. And soon after that, these 3 guys, we call them the 3 Stooges, or sometimes we call them the Romulans. They stole the website, they stole the mailing list, and then they tried to make money out of it. So I sat back and waited. Now I'm an IT professional, have been since 1965. And so when nobody when nobody made a new website, I made it. And that was common law, what was it? Common Law Court Oz.org.au or something. And I wasn't really happy with the name, but the website was there, and then we built on that, and we changed the name to commonlaw.earth, because I think it's much more inclusive. And that's actually turned out to be true. We're now hosting a website for the UK. We're working very closely with Kevin Annett in Canada. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's the guy that started up the International Common Law Court of Justice and got the Pope deposed, Pope Benedict. And now Benedict can't get out of the Vatican. He's stuck in there, because if he comes out, he will be arrested for all the crimes that he's committed. So, over the years, I've been learning a lot. I'm still learning. And when I came across Graham's quantum system, and I see that it's based on the what do you call the
will of the people.
Well, not only the will of the people, but the technology is on
the blockchain.
Blockchain. Thank you. I'm tired. I've been working all day. Yeah, I got in touch with Graham, and yeah, so I've actually been in touch with Graham for a little while, but we never actually got time to talk. So a few days ago, we had a good old chat, and now he's kindly invited me into this group. And so good to meet you all. I don't pull punches, so I'm not with the government anyway. With you guys, I'll be very, very gentle, but I do know what I'm talking about. I spent a lot of time studying. I've read the Constitution many, many times. I've read Dick Yardley's book cover to cover. I had to, because I dictated an audio book I don't know if you know Dick Yardley's book, do you?
It's actually on our site under documents and links.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Graham, the other Graham, has been giving that away. We sell it because I published the book. So, you know, people like to have something in their hands, but we sell it so that we can raise money to do the work that we're doing. So I don't know why Graham thinks he can get away with doing it for nothing, but anyway, good luck to him. So what we've been doing now is we've been building the infrastructure for a whole new government system of the people, by the people, for the people, which is the assemblies. So the QMS system fits perfectly into that, because as we grow, each assembly becomes a common law court, a common law government with all the powers of a government. We can pass laws. We've done that here on the Sunshine Coast, Gympie, Brisbane, Gold Coast, and we passed a bylaw banning all COVID restrictions. And we've created a business document which we take around to them and say, look, this is the law and this is what you can do about it. And we've even got a cease and desist letter if the cops come around. We can appoint sheriffs. I'm an appointed sheriff, common law sheriff, with more power than the police. I can actually deputize the police if I need to arrest people and put them in jail. But a sheriff is a bit different to a policeman. We are not enforcers, we are peacekeepers. We can convene common law courts, and one of our assemblies down in Victoria is doing that right now. I've been trying to do it up here, but the people up here are too afraid to actually do it, and not really, they don't know how a court works. So what I'm suggesting to our conveners now is go and sit in your local courthouse and watch what happens there. It's very simple. Just ignore the lawyers and the judges for that matter. They don't know anything. But just go and watch how the whole thing works, the procedures, and then you can convene a court very easily. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to working with the QMS system. I think it'll be a big boon because we really need a secure voting app, and we will be integrating that into the website so that we can get people used to voting on issues at any time, anywhere. And that's what we need. No more big bang elections every 3 years. If we have an issue we need to vote on, we just do it straight away.
Perfect.
Well,
Yep,
Graham's just launched it live, didn't you, Graham, earlier before you arrived?
We did it a bit early tonight. I was going to leave it till midnight, but I've turned it on now. So we have the app ready, everything's working, and you can go in there and use it. So the people who are here, a lot of them have been here many times before. I just wanted them to see it go live so they could be part of the history that we're making at the moment. So, yeah, look, under the endorsement of the tribal nations of Australia, we've still got a lot of things that we need to nut out and sort out along the way. And I mean, we've got to rebuild this country from scratch. So it's going to be an interesting time ahead. And we're going to get resistance. We know that, right? But look, at the end of the day, we've gotten this far. We've shown you that there is an alternate to the Westminster system. So, and that's what we needed before. What did you think? There's democracy, communism, socialism. You could have an emperor, a king, queen, a monarchy, blah blah blah. But it was never for the people. It was always a rich guy telling us what to do. The people who had the money had the power. We've just taken that away from them. So now we have the power back in our hands. We've got a voice again, and we can put it forth. And look, as I say, having it granted under the tribal people, that is the biggest thing that we could have achieved. And really, it gives us the jurisdiction and the ability to really push this forth. So everyone has their sovereignty already. But if anybody wants a certificate, we will organise those shortly, and we'll have them ready to go. In fact, I'd like your help on that a bit, if that's okay, Mike, if you wouldn't mind helping me design the certificates. And I'd love to find a good graphic designer that can do a bit of work with us there as well. You might even know someone, mate.
I am one.
Oh, beautiful. All right. Well, we shall talk more.
Graham, can I ask a question?
Of course.
So with what Mike said, with, appointing a sheriff, is that something that we would do once we had the half of the voting population? Everything's
going to work on the will of the people. So we've made certain agreements with the tribal nations, and I'll let you all know what they are. And I don't think anyone's going to argue with what we've agreed there. They want to have final say on what happens with the animals in the country, because they don't want us killing the animals in the country. And I certainly think that's a really good thing to allow. They don't want their sacred sites destroyed, and they want to protect those. So they want to have a final say in what happens in the land in the country. And I think that's only fair too. I mean, and look, if somebody's already residing on a sacred site, they've said that they would help them relocate, and that they, you know, that's something we as a country can organise and do together. So their hope is, and we're hoping, that they can have their sovereign land back as well that they use. They also want autonomy within the places they live, and we should all have that autonomy. The land that we own, the land we live on, should be ours to operate the way we feel fit. I mean, if you're not causing harm to others by doing it, you're not doing anything wrong. So the final thing was that they wanted the truth about their history told, and the opportunity to bring forth their culture back in the country. And personally, I don't know why the British, when they landed here, ever stamped that out. Well, I do. It's because to stamp out a people is easier when you're taking over a country than to let them continue living. But look, we're here now. We've crossed that line where we have a system, and that's what I wanted to do, was draw that line in the sand where we could say, right, let's step across here. Let's build a new country. Let's make it the way it should be. Redesign our healthcare, redesign our education. Everything these politicians have had their hand in has been as corrupted as they are. So now we can take those systems apart. We can redesign them within the QMS. And once we have that referendum and we get the will of the people behind, because again, any system of governments, no matter what it is, operates in the will of the people. It's what the people of the country want. So now it's about teaching people to stand up in their sovereign right as a being that has the protection of the original people of the country. As a person who is, you know, sovereignty is granted to you by the Creator. It's not, nobody else can give or take it from you. You can cede it, as Mike mentioned before, but and we've been tricked into ceding ours for so long. Partaking in their system cedes your sovereignty. Okay, so now we actually have a lawful place to do what we're hoping to do, and we have a system to do it with. So let's do it. Let's use it. Let's create a new country. Let's build, and that's what we're about. Look, we can stay stuck in fear, but it gets us nowhere. It just creates anxiety, makes you sick, takes days, hours, weeks, years off your life. You're much better off creating. You find solutions, be solutions based. So we work with people together. If we treat each other properly, we come from a heart base, and we stand in our truth, then how can you go wrong? And honestly, I've found that by doing that, the Creator has brought forth my greatest dream, as you're all seeing right now. So the Creator, I won't say he or she because I don't know. I actually suspect it could be a woman, to be quite honest.
There's an old joke about the guy who died and went to heaven and then came back to life. And they said, well, did you see God? He said, yes, she's black.
And that's probably the case, mate. But hey, look, the way things have just fallen into line for us and the way that things have come together, wow. I mean, if you saw it from the way Penny and I have been seeing it, Michelle, and the other guys, you know, Ross and everyone else that's been working together with us, the last 2 months, it's been up and down, yeah, sure, but the right people came at the right time. And yeah, that's all you can ask for.
Tell your story about how this sort of came about too, the sovereign people was, remember last year when you saw Craig, and I think it was Alan, they served the government, the two tribal elders served the government, or they tried to. Well, I saw that, and I got in touch with those two men, and one of them was Craig. And all year I've just been on his case. I wouldn't let him go. There was just something, because I work in the higher consciousness. There was something about him that I wouldn't let go of, and I've been on his case the whole year. And I'm like, please come to the Zoom. You've got to come and see this system that Graham Turner's building. And anyway, so they finally spoke, and then he's spoken to Alan, and then Alan's just spoken to Graham. And then it turned out I was talking to Craig about Matthew Hopkins of AFL Lawyers, and he said he's really, really good friends with him. And I used to have a bit of relationship with Matthew. So there's this circle of people that all knew each other, you know, and that's how it all came together. And it's the way that it's just like, what did I say to you today? The arrows are all pointing the right way, and it's just happening the way it should.
I call it providence.
Oh, for me, it's been like that the whole year, hasn't it, Graham? And then there's other people just randomly spoken to me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, you can go there, you can go there. We need you for this and that. And I don't know these people, right? So that's how it works. And for me, that's God's consciousness within you, and you are your own temple, and you have control if you have belief. So as long as you have belief, things start to come to you. And for me, that's how I've been used as a conduit here to give the people that Graham needs within the system. So it's been an amazing journey so far. And for that reason, you understand that we're on the right path.
Yeah.
I like that idea, Penny. My inspiration for all of this is Gandhi. He was one man in South Africa who stood up on a train and said, "No, I'm not going to do that anymore." And in the end, he gained back a whole continent and freed the people. And
Yeah.
I think that's what we're all doing now. We're all standing up and saying, "No, we're not going to do this anymore. We're doing it our way."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's right. That's exactly what we've done. If you look, I've found about manifesting myself in the last 12 months. I didn't realize that I could do it, but hey, you know, everything came at the right time. The right people, the right tools, the right pieces all came together. So it's just keep pushing forward. Don't ever give up on your dreams. Don't ever give up on your goals. If you really are coming from a heart space and what you're doing, you believe is right, just keep pushing forward, keep doing it, and whatever you're doing. But yeah, for the time being, try and get as many people into our system as possible, because if we can get people on board with this, once we reach that 9 million, our system will go into effect. We will get the army to remove the government, because they operate under the Constitution. I may be able to explain a bit of this better than I can, but the army does operate under the Constitution. They're not allowed to just, you know, the politicians, I should say, are not allowed to just say, "I'll order the army to go against the people." The army has said they wouldn't do that. Now, I know that we've heard reports of them jabbing and that sort of thing, and that's the medical services that have been brought in to allegedly assist with the pandemic. That's different from the rest of the army. So yeah, we're hearing some horror stories out there and things like that. I really don't think that our guys in khaki are out there going against any citizen. And I know that once we have the will of the people, if we get 62% of the Australian voting age population to come on board with the QMS and we run our referendum, there's no more politicians. They're gone. The whole thing just collapses, and it's collapsing anyway. So it's going to go under its own weight anyway. But if we want to speed it up, let's get everybody on board. As I say,
people, Graham, you only need 1%, and that's about 250,000 people. That's it. That's the tipping point.
Yep.
But 6 million would be great.
Well, I think we'll get a lot more on in the near future now that we've had a couple of little achievements over the last few weeks. So, Michelle, would you like to come in? Michelle's been a friend of mine for a while, and she's been working in the background with this as well, and she's been sitting patiently and quietly there in the background. So I'd just like to bring Michelle in and ask her if she's got anything she'd like to put forward at the moment.
I just want to say congratulations to Vince. He's the first one to vote on the public site.
Oh.
Congratulations, Vince.
So there you go. We have our first vote on the public site. It's fantastic and so exciting. I don't even know what to say, but everybody just share. We need as many people as we can to get onto this, and we're through. We've done it.
We still have a bit of manual handling we've got to do in the back end until we finish automating the entire site. So,
sorry about the backlog on the emails. We are getting there as fast as we can.
you can, yeah, there's a lot, isn't there?
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, and they are backlogged a bit because for a while there, I was the only one who had access to them, and I've been busy fixing the site and bringing things forward with that. So I do apologise to people that I haven't gotten back to too, because that's not where I wanted to be. We do want to get on top of that. But yeah, Penny and Michelle have been great in helping me in the background with a lot of the admin type stuff. And it's taken a little while to get them set up properly to be able to make it work. And as I said, I'm great at setting systems up and creating processes, organising people. I'm not going to put my hand to that. So that's what I need these guys to do for me.
I noticed on the app, although you've probably changed it already now, there's no way to edit your profile.
On the QMS app or the democracy?
The democracy one.
Oh, okay. I'll have a look into that. You should be able to a degree, but I haven't played with the front end as much as I've played with the back end on it. I've just proposed the votes in there, and I've gone in and tested it myself as a user to see how to go. But I will go in there and have a bit of a look at that later on and see what needs to be done there as well. And Ross is organising another chat at the moment. We've got a 13-hour time difference with the people that developed the app, so we will be going back to them within the next few days and basically discussing a few things that we need sorted out on it as well. Look, we'll get everything right in the long run, and as I say, we've got a working system, so it's there and it's operational now. It might be a little bit clunky, and we've got to do a bit of manual handling at the moment, but we will fix that and now that we're bringing the right people together, it'll happen a lot quicker. So I'm absolutely certain on that, because everything else has. So yeah, it's a really amazing time to be alive, and it's a really, really great to see something that you've dreamed about come to fruition. So again, I thank you to everyone for their support, because this is a really, really humbling experience that I've been through, and yeah, I'm now really proud to call myself an Australian. So, yeah, so I don't know, we might, Tim's not in yet, but we might just...
I spoke to Wayne earlier on the phone, and yeah, he was quite surprised to hear that you've got the First Nation people with the QMS, and he's like, that's amazing. So he wanted to say hello to everyone, and sorry he can't make it tonight. But he does support the QMS, and he's writing, what's he doing? He's writing part of the Constitution with the QMS included.
What he's done is he's taken several chapters of the 1901 Constitution, and he's combined that with the second half of the QMS proposal document. And he's doing a lot of rewording, adjusting. I'm not sure what the full thing looks like yet. He has mentioned a parliament in there. I don't think we need a parliament, because we're the people of the parliament. What we call our public service, I don't know. We need trusted people in it who are sworn to the country and to the benefit of the people. And that will be the part that I'm going to ask Mike to sort of help me resolve and set up as well. And there'll be other people involved in those discussions too. Obviously, Tim and probably Wayne will get involved on those too. But we've got to decide what how that system is going to work. We've got to create the processes for it. So there's still a lot of work to be done. And in redesigning all of the systems of the country that we can now do through the app, there's a lot of thought got to go into this. So we need people to really step up. And if you know a lot about a particular aspect of current policy that needs changing, or of a current public service or department that needs to be changed, now's the time to really get involved and get in with those people and get going.
Would you like me to explain how we're doing it with the common law?
Okay, so we've got to have a little bit more discussion with the Indigenous nations around the common law aspects of it as well, because the authority currently is being put forth by the Indigenous nations. Mike's also allowing us to use common law as well. I've just got to, I'm aware there can be conflicts there, so we've got to sort of sit down, and I'll involve you in that, Mike. We're going to sit down with them and try to nut through all of the processes and how we do this moving forward, because I agree that common law is, I mean, common law and tribal law to me appear very similar, but tribal law sort of, I think, and I'm still learning, okay? I'm learning about common law, I'm learning about tribal law, I'm learning about constitutional law, I'm learning about fictional law. which
Yeah, we've got 10 as well with the natural law.
yeah, and natural law is the other one. I apologise too. So
Well, natural law is common law.
Yeah.
Look, just if I can share the screen for a moment, would you allow me to do that? I'll just show you very quickly the 5 points. Now, we've come up with this plan. Are you ready?
just allowing it now.
Okay.
So you should be able to share now, mate.
Okay, there we go. So this is the Advance Australia 5-point plan. So what we propose is, first of all, don't worry about trying to amend the old system. You can't. You've got to tear it down and start again. So the first thing we need to do is to put the power in the hands of the people to start binding citizens-initiated referendums. We might call that citizens something else, people's-initiated referendums. But our constitution already gives us in section 128 the authority to amend our constitution voting in a referendum. And we, the people, are the only people who can do that. The parties can't do that. However, our founding fathers gave the Parliament, only the Parliament, the right to start a constitutional amendment, a referendum, and they're not doing the job. So we amend section 128 and we give everybody the right to start one, and then we can start making the changes that are needed. Number 2, well, Graham's just done that, create a secure online voting system based on the blockchain, maybe holochain. Number 3 is very important. Reform the electoral system. Now, you mentioned there no more parties, no more states, no more political parties, etc. So what we need to do now, and what we're doing, is we're building these assemblies, and eventually each assembly will be no more than 5,000 voters, and they will combine 50 assemblies to create one regional government. And each assembly will vote one of their people to sit on the regional government, and that representative will be directly accountable back to the people and can be recalled. And we will then take the current local councils, and we'll take the best bureaucrats from that, and we'll get rid of all the deadwood, and they will then be the executive for the regional government. So you won't need any more big bang elections, and we'll be able to decide on, by voting on the voting app, immediately a decision is required. Next we'll get rid of the taxation system, and only corporations or businesses will pay tax every time they do a bank transfer. So there'll be no more GST, payroll, business income, and all the other taxes. And so at the end of the year, if there's any money left over in the, oh, by the way, the money that's taxed through the bank transfer systems will be handled automatically through the QMS and put into the government general fund, which will then distribute the money to all of the regions. And so, we won't have any of these other big taxes. Now, at the end of the year, if there's money left over in the general fund, it will be redistributed to the people as a bonus for our hard work. And we'll also then be looking at the banking and financial system. And finally, we'll implement service to the nation. Now, all of this, of course, is subject to referendum vote. But if our country gives us so much, isn't it fair that we give something back? So those eligible to serve will be able to choose civil or military service. All equipment supplied to these services must be manufactured in Australia within a time limit determined by the availability of trained people and materials. So just imagine what that will do to our economy. Now, I don't think the original people are going to have a problem with that, because it's inclusive. It includes everybody in Australia, not just one group.
Yeah. Well, the original people have basically told us that their main concerns are land and animal management, and obviously restoring their history, telling the true full story and their culture. And I don't think any Australian would have a problem. I would hope no Australian would have a problem with that. That I wouldn't. I'd be very surprised if we did. But yeah, look, everything will be up. We can put it all into the system now. We can start the proposals. So I'll get you to actually, come in and actually load those in the people's voice, so that we can get them out there and start getting people talking. Tim Dwyer's also proposed, I think it's a 2% in, 3% out, or it might be the other way around, tax as well, GST tax, which everybody pays on goods and services. There's a few different potential taxation systems that, put it this way, we're not going to have the cost of running a government anymore. This is far cheaper than what we've had. We've had figures done of around $2.1 billion a week it costs to keep the Westminster government running. That's incredible. If you look at that at 52 times that every single year is what we're spending to support the corruption and lies we're told. And that's your tax money that's being put to work, people. That's, we could pretty much scrap the tax system that we have and redesign it in whatever way we like. And what if it leaves more people or more money in people's pockets at the end of each day? I mean, at the moment, 70% of what you earn ends up back in those coffers, and those coffers aren't here, by the way, they're offshore.
Yeah.
So, and we borrow it back at 150%. So for every dollar that, say, somebody gets paid on Centrelink, the government now owes $1.50 for. So that's a ridiculous way of running an economy and maintaining a country. I don't even know why this country isn't bankrupt, apart from the fact that they're selling off resources like minerals and that sort of thing from Central Australia.
It is bankrupt. They've been bankrupt for years.
Yeah, well, I'm surprised anything that they've got any money to function at all at any level. They keep borrowing it back from the International Monetary Fund, and I mean, who owns that? We all know that.
What would the financial system be in Australia? Would it be based on our resources and minerals and things that we are rich in already?
I'd like to see that. I'd love to see a resource-based economy within our country, but that's a little bit different again too. We've got assets within this country now. Resource-based would mean we actually wouldn't need money. We'd have everything we needed, but an asset-backed economy would mean things like uranium, gold, silver, oil. Even you could go as far as lamb's wool, meat. We've got beef and we've got lamb and all that sort of thing that's exported overseas. I think all of that should be counted in, and then what you do is you don't go on what people overseas say they will pay for things. You go on what we value it at, the people. Right, we keep the best cuts of whatever here. Why would we send our best cuts of meat overseas and accept the worst here? Why would we send our best vegetables overseas and accept the worst here? You would only do that if there was a financial advantage to you personally. You wouldn't do it for your country. And that's where we're at now. We've been doing this for a very, very long time. We can clean everything up. We can get it all right now. We can actually build the country the way it should have been built in the first place, which was when the British arrived here, what they should have done was brought the best of Britain to this country and then helped develop the tribal people that were living here. And if they had have done that and allowed them to retain their culture instead of trying to stamp it out, we'd have a much more beautiful country than we already have. And I mean, I don't know if you know much about tribal law, but tribal law is actually it's very fair, and tribal people are actually very nice people. They're not violent, they're not aggressive people. It's not about wars and hate and all that sort of thing. That's something we've brought to the country. Well, not we, but
not exactly. I've read some of the journals of the early settlers here. I mean, both sides were at fault. But
look, they put up a really good fight in a lot of cases too. The original people, considering they were outgunned and the technology was on them. Sorry, Ross, do you want to unmute yourself, mate? I can see you got your hand up there. Come in.
Okay, just something that we're talking about government, we're talking about debt, we're talking about interest on money. Now, this is just a tax receipt for me personally, and this is back in 2017. Now, this is actually on, let me just turn my video on for a second. So this is just on, where is it? You can see that. So it's actually an official government document. Level of Australian government gross debt back in 2017 was 501 billion. The year before it was 420 billion. And the interest payments on gross debt for 2017 that we were paying on the money that we're borrowing was $14.9 billion.
Oh my God.
Ridiculous.
So, sorry.
Oh, just saying that's ridiculous.
So this is actually comes on, well, I mean, this, I don't know whether it still does or not, but this comes on your tax receipt from the government, shows the amount of money that's paid in welfare, health, all the rest of it goes right through the list. But I just wanted to let that know that, you know, and that was back in 2017, where we were at a $501 billion debt. And yeah, $15 billion. And I'm sure, like, because I haven't had this for a couple of years, I don't know what it is at the moment. But yeah, basically $15 billion a year we're paying on just our interests of debt.
It's crazy, isn't it?
So that was back in 2017, 4 years ago.
And who here signed up for that? Who agreed to allow the country to be in that much debt? I bet not one of you did. I certainly didn't. Well, I've never voted, so I can't really be held very accountable for any of that anyway.
And really, like, that's what they've got, other money hidden away from us.
Oh, of course. Yeah. And this is my point. You know, look, it's just we've been robbed for too long. We've been conned for too long. It's time that we take our stand and bring the country back to the people. And we do that with the QMS now. So it's a peaceful, lawful way of doing it. And it now has jurisdiction. And at the end of the day, that's all we need. We can recreate it exactly the way we want. So I'm going to start the question time now, if everyone's okay with that, because we've sort of, time's really flying at the moment. I got into this meeting with about 5 minutes to spare. I had to plug the computer in and start it up because I take it with me these days, because there's a lot of information in it that I wouldn't want to let fall into anyone else's hands. And so, yeah, let's open the floor up. And if anybody has any questions, please, there's a little reactions button down the bottom. If you can pop your hand up, we'll bring you in and you can ask your question. If you don't want to ask it on screen, or you don't want to ask the question directly, send it through to Penny or Michelle in the chat, or myself. I may not see it because I'm sort of pretty busy, or you can send it to Ross as well, or maybe Mike, I'm not sure, and they'll bring it up for you if you like. Is it Cudgel? Is that how I pronounce it, mate? Unmute yourself, come on in.
It's Gary.
Oh, g'day, Gary. How are you? I saw Cudgel on there, so I just read the name.
No problem. Look, I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you.
I see definitely the benefit, especially going down decentralized systems. And there's a couple of points that I'm looking at, is that the fact that at the moment we've got a system that is highly corrupt, highly controlled by other agencies. What makes you think they're going to allow this to happen?
They're not going to allow it. They won't allow it at all.
They won't, yeah.
No.
So what are the strategies you're going to have in place in order to?
Right. If we can raise about $5 million, we can run a people's initiated referendum. And when I say people, it's not a citizens initiated referendum, because that needs to go in front of Parliament. A people's one is one we would do ourselves off our own bat. Now, I have a way of doing this, and I can't discuss it publicly at the moment. Let's just say we can't use the mail service to deliver, but if we can unify the movement, we do have the Australia project involved in what we're doing, and there's a lot of people around us that have got a lot of followings within the movement. If we could ask the people of the movement, and they're not going to like this, but if I could ask them just to put on a mask for a couple of days and follow the Cho rules for a couple of days, we could actually take these out to people's homes and have the referendum on the spot. But I've got a whole process for doing it, which if you want to contact me, Gary, I'm happy to have a chat and explain how it works. And the steering team have been privy to a lot of the way it works as well. We do have a process that it would follow. We will need sworn officers. Currently, I'll have to have a chat to Mike and to the tribal people about the best way of managing the swearing in of people under it, because they've got to be people of character. They've got to be people who are going to tell the truth. I mean, at the end of the day, if we lose a referendum, I still could end up facing a firing squad. So yeah, that's where we're at. And look, it's got to be done properly. It's got to be done fairly. I don't want people to do it to bring the QMS in on an unlawful act, or the way that Dan Andrews got into Victorian Parliament, or the way that, you know, Biden got in America. We don't want fraud. It's got to be done properly, and we've got a process that we can follow around that, where it's not going to put us potentially at risk of breaking the law. Now, if we can do it, we can do it a bit. It'd take about 4 or 5 weeks from when the money became available, and that amount, as I said, is about $5 million, based on the estimates and costings we've had done so far. 4 or 5 weeks away from that, we run the referendum, which would take approximately a week, I expect, to run and result. We gazette the results, and with the result, if we've got more than 62% of Australia wanting, and it's a constitutional referendum basically, so it has to be around 62. There are some numbers and percentages that relate to states and that sort of thing, which I'm sure you guys probably know a lot more about than I do. I know Mike and Tim would know a lot more about that side of it than I do. So at the end of the day, if we can get the numbers, and it is a numbers game like anything, it's about bringing the will of the people out of the old system and into the new. So if we can get the bulk of the people on board with it, we get the 62%, we'll fire off some letters. We've spoken to Wayne Glue about how we do that. The letters would then go to the Parliament, to the Queen, to the Governor General, and to our Army. And at that stage, if 62% of the country wants a new system, and that system's the QMS, I believe that it's incumbent then, under the current constitution, for the Army to step in and remove the old government if they refuse to move. So at least that's what I've been told so far. So I know that there are corrupt people at all different levels. Look, they'd show themselves in this, and what we're finding lately is that everybody who's lying out there, their lies are coming out. The truth is there to be known. It's just usually a liar will paint themselves into a corner, and they will get found out. So
and getting over that issue, which is obviously a massive issue, considering you're going to have the media against, you know, the media is definitely going to play a part in this, and they're not going to be absolutely on your side. They're going to be on the, so there's that hurdle. But once you get over that hurdle, when you're talking about currencies and base them on resources and things, how do we, you know, with that system fit into the global, or even though, you know, the global economy and is changing rapidly now, if you base your currency on resources or something, how does that match in to a global economy? And why wouldn't you use a decentralized currency that's available now, that's independent of any influence?
At the end of the day, it's not going to be my decision. It's going to be the decision based in the will of the people. And obviously people with better knowledge around those systems and processes would need to come forth and create those new systems and put them up for referendum style voting. So they'd have to present a pretty good argument why we'd choose their particular idea over another one. I've heard some really great ideas around that. That's using both crypto. Personally, I'm a tradie. I like the cash system because I don't like paying tax unless I really have to. So, and I mean, like when I have to is when I buy something, I pay a GST on it. Beyond that, that's pretty much. And I shouldn't say this publicly because I get in trouble for it all the time. But you know, that's where I sit with it. So I like a cash economy for that reason, but having a crypto system or any type of purely digital currency leaves us open to our information being stolen, our money being manipulated or taken away from us. Whereas I believe a cash economy or a gold-based economy would be a lot harder to steal away. Based in a blockchain, yes, I know it's a lot safer, but look, it's one of those things, isn't it? Money is probably the greatest cause of all of the problems we've had over the years. And that's why I say I like resource. If anyone's ever seen the Venus Project, I absolutely love what they tried to do with that. And that's something that I would would propose we looked into as well along the way. Resource-based economies don't have money. Everybody has what they need. And the menial tasks of society become automated. We've got the tech to do it. And what I'm saying is, with the tech that's available now, we should really be looking at what's best for the country and not burying things on the basis that it's not going to make people money, that maybe playing puppet master with our politicians. We've just cut the strings with this system. And once we have the referendum, they'll be completely severed. So all of a sudden, we've got a system where we can actually have our integrity as a country, and we can actually design whatever monetary system we really want. And look, it may not be.
Let's make a vote on that one.
Yeah, well, it'd be polling people to find out what the ideas are, get some experts in there to propose things in there, and develop the concept from there. Sorry, I'm about to cough. My apologies. I'll just mute while I do that.
Well, you know, I know that we've all got kids, you know, and they have weekend jobs, you know, mowing the lawn for the neighbours, and what are we just going to cut out their pocket money, you know, their little cash, their piggy bank?
Realistically, if the kids want to go and mow the lawns for the neighbours, what a lovely thing for them to do. Why do they want to get paid for it? I mean, I'm sure the neighbours probably pop them some lollies every now and again or something, you know. It's if you do the right thing by other people, then, and look, I lived, after my divorce, I didn't have any income and I wasn't eligible for the dole. And so what I used to do was I used to go around and visit different friends and people, and I'd help them out and do things for them, drive them somewhere or fix something, do their gardening. They'd feed me. They'd give me a bed for the night. You can survive without money. A lot of people think you can't, but you can if you're a decent person, if you're prepared to do a bit of work for it. And that's me personally. I'm not saying that's how the country needs to be. The country will be however the people design it to be now. So yeah, sorry, Mike, you got your hand up. You wanted to mention something. Yep, go for it.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we did a survey of the mineral riches of our country, and we looked at gold, coal, oil, and a couple of other things. We are an incredibly rich country. The problem is we don't get the benefits of it because they're ripping us off. So, you know, and any what we're doing here on the Sunshine Coast, for instance, we've got a group now which is growing very fast of young, what I call the young gentlemen. And they're young entrepreneurs and business people and farmers and people like that. We're all coming together at meetings and working out how we can build an alternative society. And so, you know, if we need food, we've got the farmers supplying food, but we do things for them. It's on a, you know, like that. And this, of course, sometimes you need money to do things too. And why not silver? I've got heaps of silver coins. Let's start using that. And our constitution actually says we must use pounds, shillings and pence. And that's never changed. In 1966, the government took away our pounds, shillings and pence and brought in American dollars because they'd been borrowing so much money from the Americans. The banks said, all right, well, if we're going to lend you that much money, we need two things. We need you to change over the US dollar so you can repay us. And that's what the Australian dollar is. It's just another form of US dollar. And we need your young men to go and fight in Vietnam, which is how I became a veteran. And I went over there for the banks. That was it. And of course, when I went up there, I was all gung-ho. But when I come back, I saw what was going on, and I came back a very different young man. And actually, since then, I've been, you know, thinking about all of this stuff. But it wasn't until I came back from Thailand, 12 years ago, that I really started getting involved in trying to change things. So, you know, all we have to do is look at our constitution. Every Australian comes under that. If you read clause 5, it states all judges, magistrates, and people of this country are all bound to the constitution. And that cannot be changed without a referendum of not only the Australian people, but the British people too. So we have a little bit of a job to do there, because we've got to convince the Brits eventually to let us go and become an independent country, according to what we, the people, want, not what the government has been saying. Oh, we become a republic soon. No, we won't. Not under a communist political party system. Thank you. It's got to be by our lights, by our ideas, our will.
Yeah, and that's what this system's all about. It's about taking the will out of the old system and putting it into something new. So we'll be able to demonstrate our will now. Even if the current system exists for another 2, 3 months, 6 months, whatever the time frame is for this to all happen, we're going to know the difference between our will and what actually they're doing. So when people start to see a great disparity between what people want and what they're doing, things are going to shift pretty quickly, I think. And now that we've got, as I say, the authorities that we have and the people that are working together with us to try to build this. And look, we want everyone to become involved. We want everyone to jump on the website and engage. Think about what you want change in. Think about how it could be changed. Don't look at the problems anymore. We all know what the problems are. Focus on finding solutions. And that's, I mean, I always say fear feeds the beast. The media love to keep us in fear because when we're in fear, we're easy to push around. We do what they want us to do. Fear and anxiety, I mean, and how many of you felt that lately? I imagine if you're like me, most of us have felt it quite a lot. That's what they want, right? Because that's how they control us. When you step into something new and you stand in your truth and you're a sovereign being, you recognize your sovereignty and you refuse to be pushed around any longer, and you have something to support you with it as well. You actually have a lawful stance to support yourself in. They can't really do that much. And look, they can hurt us, they can kill us, they can put us in jails, but what does that really achieve for them? You fill up all the jails very quickly. If you've got 62% of the people wanting something else, they wouldn't be, half the country would be jails. They can't do it. I mean, we've been here in Victoria, we've been in jail for 18 months now. We want out. And I mean, I'm not a very good prisoner. I just do what I want, but I'm lucky in that regard.
Well, I have to go. I'm afraid I've got to leave you. My daughter's got dinner ready and I'm starving. I'll be working today.
Cheers, Mike. I appreciate you coming in, brother. I really do, mate. Thank you.
No worries. We'll talk again on the phone anyway, Graham.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have a steering team meeting. I think we've got one Tuesday night, but I'm not sure. I might have to go back up to the property I've been working on, so I'm not sure whether I'll be able to do that. But we'll let you know when the next one is, and we'll make sure it happens. And you're included in there, mate.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Bye now.
See you later. So, look, yeah, I can't promise you the world because I'm not a politician, and that's not what we're building here. We're not building a political party. We've built a tool to place that we can place the will of the people in, and that we can decentralize things and get things moving in the right direction. So we've got it. We've got the app. We've got the site working. Now it's just getting the engagement. That's the last stage. And Pauline's one of our regulars. I see she's come in. We started the site early. It's actually running now. So you can now download the app. Just for those latecomers, you can go to the downloads page on the website. There's an app now called the Democracy app that is part of the QMS system. The first 3 stages of process, it's a 4-stage process. They work through the website, and the final stage, which is the voting app, it's the Democracy app, and you can download that directly from our website, or you can go to the democracyapp.com and download it from there. Ross, you wanted to say something, mate? Go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly again. Is the person on the mobile, is that Tim? Did he want to say anything? Or?
Is that you, Tim? Come in on the mobile? I'll see if I can ask to unmute. Not sure.
Yeah, Graham, it's Adam.
Oh, g'day, Adam. How you going, mate?
No, very well. Sorry, the only way I could get on tonight was to go for a walk and jump on.
That's good. Thank you
okay.
for joining.
Thank you.
I was a bit late, but it's been, yeah, sorry, go on.
No, that's all right, mate. No, go for it. Continue, please.
Oh, no, I was just saying, I jumped on a bit late. I was struggling with my children, so I couldn't jump on at home. So I've only caught the tail end of it. I've only been on for about half an hour.
No, that's all right, mate. We'll have a chat later if you like, and yeah. I'll bring you up to speed on everything. Plus, the video from tonight will be up on our website. Hopefully by the end of tomorrow. It takes me a little bit of time to download it and to top tail it and put it up there. Just because my laptop's not the newest laptop and my internet here is absolute rubbish. but yeah, we'll get that done within the next 24 to 48 hours, and you will be able to watch this meeting. And please look, share it around, tell everyone about what we're doing, and let's really just show everyone what the QMS is and what it's about. It's for you. It's there.
So we got another meeting on Saturday, Graham. Are you able? Yeah.
Yeah, we're still doing our standard Saturday night meeting. We're thinking about doing a regular Thursday. We thought we'd trial it tonight and see how it went. Also, with us releasing the app, I originally said tomorrow, but it's there now. So we did it at the early stage of this meeting just to give everyone a chance to watch history unfold. So yeah, it's there. I mean, it's just a beautiful time to be alive, and wow, to watch a dream come true. From my point of view, it's just you guys have made it all possible, and I love you all. I thank you so much.
But Graham, sorry, I just wanted to. Oh, I thought that was Tim on the mobile. So,
okay.
But just getting back to you, Gary. There is a lot happening around the world now. There's going to be a lot of things, that we obviously want to try and bring into play and all that kind of stuff. And I assume most of you have actually heard about the QFS, the Quantum Financial System. Can I get some head nods or?
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
yep. Heard of it.
That actually is a real system that's coming in around the world.
Yes.
Now, I actually met someone up in Queensland probably about 8 months ago, and it was quite funny how we're actually swimming at a beach, and we got talking about Nasara Jasara. And this lady, probably about 10 feet away from us, heard me talking with a couple of people, and swam over and said, "What do you know about it?" And I went, "What do you want to know?" Now, I did a lot of research on it. Now, it's still, I don't know whether it's true, got no idea. But she swam over, and she actually lives up on an island in Queensland. And she's actually become very, very good friends with other friends of mine. So it's taken her actually 6 months to admit this. And she had to be obviously very careful of who she was talking to and who she was actually letting know about, about this system. So it is actually being worked on in Australia at the moment, 100% guaranteed.
Okay, interesting. I've been told all sorts of things, and to be honest, I'm not sure what to believe around Jasara and Nasara, the QFS. I've read a lot of different stuff. All I can say is that at the end of the day, we've got a voting tool that we can decide in policy on, and as these things come into force, the people of Australia will have to work out what they want to do with regard to a financial system, and with personally, I would like to see the world, all the Western democracies, gradually convert over to what we're trying to do here, because without government, you don't have war. Generally, people fight the wars, but they do it at the direction of the government. Personally, the governments create the wars. It's not people doing it. So,
Graham, I have heard similar today. I told you who's talking to me about that today. And there is evidence that it is happening, but there's also, they do have the Great Reset. So the fight is on. Both sides are pretty even, apparently. So if that does happen, the quantum financial system, can we integrate it into this system?
If it's the one that the people choose as the system of Australia, yes, we can integrate any system that the people choose as their financial system. So again, I don't want to make any promises about anything that without the will of the people, because I can't do anything. We can't do anything without the will of the people. We can just simply build the tool for the people to use to demonstrate their will, and that's what we've done. So pretty much it's up to you guys now. It's there. It's actually my birthday tomorrow. I turn 51 tomorrow on the 15th, which was part of the reason why I wanted to wait till tomorrow to release the app, because the numbers seem to work as well.
Well, does everyone want to take themselves off mute and we'll sing happy birthday?
Oh, no, you don't need to do
Yeah,
it. That's not what I was
come on,
saying.
Can I-
No.
Are you ready?
Oh, my goodness.
Can I just quickly,
yourself off
just
mute.
before we sing that, Penny, just quickly.
Oh,
Why I wanted to bring this up was, and just finishing off my part of the conversation,
Sorry, Ross.
with the QFS, it is actually it will be rolling out worldwide. Now, I don't know about Nasara Jasara, but I 100% know for sure, because this woman that we met, who my friends have actually become very good friends with, her father was handpicked in Australia to roll it out.
Cool.
And that is absolutely 100%. This guy's been working on it for years, and he is, I don't know him. I'm hoping to meet him when I get back up north, but he's actually been working on it for a couple of years, and he lives here in Australia. And yeah, so he was actually handpicked to implement it in Australia. Now, I'm assuming everybody does know that the banks have been down a lot lately. They are putting in this new system, all that kind of stuff. So the QFS actually is 100% real, happening around, well, I'm assuming the world, but it is definitely happening in Australia.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
at the end of the day, the country's got to have some sort of monetary system. So, and that's, but yeah, it concerns me too, who controls some of this stuff too. Vince, if you'd like to come in, mate, I'll get you to ask your next one.
No, I was actually just wondering about that QFS. Isn't that exactly where the One World government wants us to go?
No,
No.
no, it
Different?
is not.
Okay.
The
Okay.
QFS is completely different.
Okay. Yeah, look, as I say, it's not an area I know a great deal about, and my focus has been on building this for a long time. So I apologise if I seem a bit vague on it, or if, you know, it's not that I don't disagree with anyone.
Don't be scared of it, because it's something that we get to control. It's no one else controls that. It's not the Great Reset. It's just a financial system where assets are distributed that have taken away from us for many years, and we get paid back what we were traded on our birth certificates. So Ursula, do you want to have a talk about that a little bit? Like, let's just talk
A little bit, just from what I have been following and from what I'm getting is the Great Reset is the New World Order. The New World Order, and the QFS is the American. It actually sounds exactly what you do, Graham. And I was tempted to ask in the past whether actually you know, I've been here a few meetings now, and I was actually thinking whether you have been maybe handpicked by the Americans to establish what you're doing here, because it sounds so very similar to what I'm understanding is the American QFS, which is
I wasn't handpicked by anyone, apart from I've had downloads from the creator for 30 years coming in, or that's my belief anyway. And I felt that this needed to be done. And last year I was mature enough and experienced enough to actually frame it properly in my mind and write it, write the original document. The rest of the work, the building the website, the developing the following and all that sort of thing, that's a lot of work in itself. But I've been lucky enough to come across people like Penny and Matt Lawson and, and Michelle and all the people we've been working with, Tim and, Wayne. And along the way, look, we've had our, people agree, disagree and that sort of thing. But everything just fell into place in the last couple of months. It's just been bang, bang, bang. Everything that we needed just came in. So that's what we're at. I don't think that to me money's evil. I think money is the greatest cause of corruption, because people fight over money. They use money to give themselves status and power. And while we all live in that ego base, we're living in a really controlled evil situation. And I want to sort of, some people might think I have a big ego. I personally don't care what they think. I'm honest, and I just tell it as it is. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that's the one thing I like to believe. I live with integrity, and I don't want to promise anything that I don't know personally. I can't achieve. even like bringing this forward was a big thing too, because when I started on the process of this, I knew we could build the system. I just wasn't sure how I was going to do it. And yeah, when all the pieces lined up, wow, it's incredible. So look, at the end of the day, people, money, and a perception of having power over people or status over people, that's how we got into this mess. So I've removed the people power part I'm in the throes of doing that with the QMS. We haven't totally removed it yet, but we've got an option now, and that's the main point. Is we actually really have an alternative to the Westminster system that we believe works, and that we need everybody to test with us and put it through its paces so that we can really find out what the holes are and fix them. And as I always said, this is meant to be a system of, for, and by the people. I might have written the initial websites, version 1.0 that we're on at the moment. I'm sure that it will develop as better people come along that know more about the various systems and aspects. The one key thing is to maintain the transparency and the will of the people. And they're going to be the key points that have to be addressed in everything that we do moving forward. As I say, until we got jurisdiction this week, really it was, it was a dream. It was a concept. Now it's real.
Can I just say, Ross has got his hand up again.
Yeah, sorry, Ross, come in, mate.
A system that comes in, like people are talking about this, so it's okay. Don't feel scared to talk about anything here. If a system does like this, like that we were just talking about, comes in, I feel that every country will need a system like this for it to fall into. And we could be that system. So then we also have a referendum, which gives us our voice and the First Nation people a voice. And for Graham and myself and everyone else involved, that's what this is about more than money. It's about having a voice and having a referendum and bringing the nation together. I think I'm right, Graham, right?
We're fighting for our freedom. We wanted to cut the strings of the puppets that control the puppet masters that control the puppets who are our politicians, and let the audience tell their own show. And that's what we've worked to achieve. So we've got the scissors on the strings. We just need the referendum, and once that's held, those strings are cut. So yeah, that's where we need to head next. Next will be fundraising campaigns and building things up to get to the stage that we can run the people-initiated referendum. Sorry, Ross, what did you want to say, mate? Come in.
Just quickly, David did leave and firstly have a quick chat. David did leave a message. What will it mean for your savings in the bank? Me personally, I don't leave money in the bank, but I believe that when the QFS rolls out, basically your money just gets swapped straight over to a new account. Now, I've actually had this personally happen with me. Everybody will end up with an extra digit on their bank accounts.
Oh, that extra digit on zero doesn't make much difference to me.
No. But I mean, like whatever your account number is going to be. And this is all part of the banks being shut down for the last 2 years, all this kind of stuff, a whole new system coming in. If you've got a zero ending on your bank account number, you'll end up with an extra zero. So where it used to be probably a 6-digit or 7-digit number, it will now become an 8-digit number. Okay. Now, I know this personally because I've actually had it already happen with some of my overseas bank accounts and companies, or a particular company that I transfer money backwards and forwards with overseas. And when I was in Queensland 6 months ago, they were sending out letters already of them changing. Now, I haven't actually had a letter from Westpac at all yet, but a lady come in, saw the customer service lady at the front desk, started going on a little bit about it because she was freaking out because they'd obviously sent her a letter and said, we're adding this or doing whatever. I didn't actually see the letter, but she started freaking out. Lady at customer service said, don't worry about it. Everything's fine. It is just going to roll over. So I was sitting probably 5 feet away from this lady when she come in, and I heard her talking to the customer service lady. So the quantum financial system, basically, You're just going to have an extra digit added to your bank account number. I don't think you're going to be getting whole new bank accounts, but I've already had it done to 3 of my bank accounts already, and that probably happened 6 or 8 months ago. So I know that's definitely going to happen for everyone. Me personally, David, I don't keep money in the bank. I invest it other ways, but I just believe it's all just going to roll over in the new QFS. So.
Okay. Yeah, Luke, come in, mate. Unmute yourself, Luke. I see you got a question. Yep.
No question. I was just trying to share my video, just saying congratulations. I'm new to all this, introduced by Chad, and I've got to leave now, but just sort of coming on the screen to show you I'm real, and well done.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Really appreciate
it. I'll see you guys in the next one.
Cheers, brother. Thank you.
See ya.
All right. Now, is anyone, because we've got about probably 5 minutes left, so if anybody's got any questions they want to ask about the QMS or what's going on with the tribal nations or any of that sort of stuff, please, now's the time.
Yeah, Ursula wanted to ask something.
Yeah, go for it, Ursula.
Yes, it's basically a little bit answered now by you, Ross. But yes, I understand that the majority of the countries in the world have signed up with the QFS. So around 200 countries will be joining the QFS. And you mentioned Westpac, the SWIFT system will be changing over to an instant, because of the quantum financial system, it will be transferred instantaneously. So it's no longer SWIFT, but it's called, in my case, or in this Westpac case, it's called OSCO or something like that. We have globally, yes. And I actually hear a date floating around for the implementation of Nezara Jezara, which is the 15th tomorrow. But I'm also always hearing that you never get stuck on dates because they always change. So yes, I'm just comparing a few notes between what's floating around here on the screen. And yeah, it sounds all good. What I particularly like in the present version of you, Graham, is the inclusion of the tribal people. I find this very important. And yeah, all good. And a very happy birthday for you tomorrow.
Oh, thank you very much. Look, I was going to say before, this is my birthday present to Australia. So, bringing this now, thank you, everyone. I've got my present in achieving what I've dreamed for. So in getting this to this stage. So thank you. I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate all the support. And especially when times have been tough, the beautiful people that have come out and stood by me and trusted me and spoken to me and lifted me up when I've been feeling down. It has, honestly, it's meant the world to me. And without you guys, I'm just a crazy guy that's screaming out, let's change the government system to a better system. And there's plenty of us doing that. But yeah, I've found my tribe, and my tribe is the people of Australia, the people of Australia who are heart-based and who want to change it into a better world. And that's where I'm based, and that's what I want. We all want the same thing. So I was just lucky enough that the Creator gave me the concept and put it through me, and that I got to sit in this position with you guys to this stage. So it's now up to the Australian people to come on board. And that's what I invite everyone to do, is come on board, use the system, try it out, propose policy. Let's see how we go with it. Because at the end of the day, yes, there's always going to be some development work to do, but we need to test everything as we go. And it's about test and measure, like you would in a business. You always test and measure within the business. And look, we're not a corporation. The country shouldn't be run as a corporation either, but we can apply business principles to what we're doing, and that's transparency and testing and measuring, and that's what I've created, is a system that we can do that with. So I think, and the other part of it is that it educates people along the way. We've been sold policy without any real education on why we need that policy. This way we've got we can see it right before us. We can see it develop. We can see why it's developed. We can see how it's developed, and we can see how it's going to affect us. So that's the idea behind what not just me, because when I say I've created, I might have done the authoring of the document, but without the guys that have worked with me on this tirelessly, people like Penny, Michelle, Tim, look, I'll even give Graham and Karen their dues in time, although we didn't achieve a lot with them, but like, give them their dues. They were part of it for a while. Although, yeah, anyway, I'm not going to go there right at the moment for various reasons. We've got the right team now. We've got the right people. We've got the right system. And we wouldn't have been endorsed by the tribal people of Australia if they didn't think we were heading in the right direction. And they've been here a lot longer than we've all been here the same time. We were born here, right? But it doesn't matter. Their ancestors have been here a lot longer than mine have, and they held the law in this land before my ancestors ever arrived here. And to have this now, and their support in what we're building that's the biggest thing I could have ever asked for. And to have the Creator guide us along the way too, and show me the right and the wrong ways to do things along the way, and how to hold myself and present. And all of the beautiful people who came and taught me that along the way too, and held me up and supported me and taught me. Life is a lesson, and everything we do in life, like we're doing it for a reason, right? So make your reason a good reason. Be positive. Get out there and make the changes that need to be made. And that's where I come from now. We all need to be part of the change now. So we all need to start creating and bringing forth our best ideas. All right. I've shown you the way. We got the system and the tool to do it. Just come from a heart base and your truth, and you will succeed, as we have. And I do believe we've succeeded at this point. We will win this. I've got no doubt at all.
Thanks, Graham.
Thanks, guys.
We thank you for what you brought to us, and we all just want to say that we hope you have a wonderful day tomorrow, whatever you're doing.
Thank you.
Bring as many people as you can on Saturday, guys, and show them what we've just launched, the voting app, and just go in there and have a play with it. And, you know, this is the Great Awakening, right? This is our Great Awakening. It's your own personal Great Awakening. So bring people into that energy, and you can't go wrong. Like, honestly, bring them into the excitement of having a voice and having the referendum back, bringing the First Nation people in with us. Get excited about that. Go and shout to everyone about it. Do a live on your social media, whatever it takes to get the message out, and bring 5, 10, 20 people on Saturday.
As many as you can.
As many as you can. This is so important right now.
And don't worry about the media ripping us apart. Do not worry. All marketing is good marketing. So even if they go out there and they tell people that we're crazy and this, that, and the other, right, it'll bring people in to look at what we're doing. And when people look at what we're doing and they see, especially if they can see engagement, they might want to stay. And if they stay, we get the numbers. We can either get the numbers on the website, or we can do it by raising the money. Either way. And there's other things we can do too. But at the moment, I think we'll just leave it there.
Well, can everyone unmute? We're going to sing happy birthday, right? Are you ready? Everyone unmute.
Thank you.
Unmute. Going to see all those little red marks go away. Who's a good singer here?
Not me.
You're a good singer, aren't you? I reckon Chad could sing.
I'll start it off.
Yeah, go on. Oh, David, we need everyone's on. You've got to unmute. I'm not starting until everyone's Joe.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to you.
That was sensational. Thank you so much.
Hooray! Beep, beep.
Oh, that was hilarious.
It was. Hey, when you sing on Zoom as a group, it swaps from person to person. You hear different. That was really great.
Probably the worst birthday call you've ever had in your life, mate. But
no, actually, this is the best birthday I've ever had in my life, mate. Honestly, thank you, guys.
Oh, that was so funny.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your efforts, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. yeah, couldn't be done without you. It honestly can't. Thank you all. I love you all. And
See everyone on Saturday.
See you on Saturday.
see you on Saturday night. Those that want to come again, bring your friends. Let's do
100
this.
people each.
Let's change this country. Let's change the world.
Have a good day
Bye.
tomorrow,
Thank you.
See you
Graham.
guys later.
Do it.
Bye.
Good night,
See
guys.
ya.
Have a great
Happy
day.
birthday, Graham.
Good
Thanks,
night,
mate.
everyone.
Thank you.
Great
Everyone.
day. Ciao.
Bye bye.
I really appreciate it, everyone. Thank you. Thank you.